everybody, you are tuned on to DBS TV and this is the news from Cameroon, Africa and the world. Following recent scenes of insecurity and attacks by armed gangs in Douala, economic capital of Cameroon, local community watch committees have been set up in the city to deal with the new form of crime. According to Douala village and quarter authorities, in the month of October 2020, a group of armed young men invaded some neighborhoods of the town, notably Ndokoti and Deido, attacking passers-by, inhabitants and traders, taking goods and money from them. In many quarters today, a group of young men, in addressing the threat, now go out with light weapons to protect their neighborhoods. Since many of the bandits have been identified to be street children, some NGOs like Saint Nicodem have equally offered to help remedy the situation by offering shelter and educational opportunities to some 40 street children to help them reintegrate society. They judge that repression is less of a solution. So far, the number of casualties from gang raids is unknown and relative calm has returned in the past weeks. Arriving in Cameroon on the 3rd of October 2020 on board a special flight from France, 165 pregnant heifers of the Montbéliard breed acquired by Cameroon government through Menepia have since begun their climate adaptation phase at the Lugere Breeding Center in Mayoluti division of the North region. In the center, an important device consisting of 3 quarantine stalls with a capacity of 60 seats each and equipped with all amenities to offer these high-yielding dairy cows a comfort to facilitate their adaptation. To care for them, 12 permanent staff, 6 seasonal and 3 night guards are permanently at the service of the 165 heifers, which have also adapted to the local diet. They now love Lugere's fibrous hay and the cotton caucus that they have consumed every day in large quantities. This is proof of the success of transitional phase in their diet. In a few weeks, Cameroon will have its own first Montbéliard heifer breeds. Then, the redistribution to breeders will follow, breeders who will benefit from technical support provided by Prodel.
Will be distributed to the beneficiaries, and those beneficiaries must be prepared to manage them, and the Prodel have prepared courses about it. They need to have all the infrastructure as this one. They need also to have feed and water.
Now we take you to Yagua, Mayo-Danai division of the far north region of Cameroon, where the eating of cricket is a common practice, particularly in this season of the year. Every year, the insects commonly known in the area as babati appear and bring joy to those who consume them. The much-loved food is also a source of income for the traders, like this saleswoman who recounts her daily activities with the cricket business. She explains how she gathers the crickets, cleans them and washes them in hot water, then sun-dries, selects, adds spices and fries them. After frying, the crickets are ready for consumption, and that is where the business begins. Tied in plastic papers, each packet is sold at 100, 200 and 500 francs for the different sizes. The traders sell them day and night to consumers in bars and other public places. The consumers appreciate the taste and above all, the rich and nutritive content of the meat.
C'est bien ça. Exactement. Ça a beaucoup de vitamines. Ça a bien de vitamines. C'est un aliment bien.
Lucrative as it could be, the business is not a bed of roses for traders who have to face much fire and smoke on a daily basis and sometimes walk very long distances to get the business going. Whatever the case, For this 3-month period when crickets come out in abundance in the far north and other parts of Cameroon, cricket meat is part and parcel of eating habits of Cameroonians, and particularly those in the far north region. The Ivorian Constitutional Court has validated the third-term re-election victory of President Alassane Ouattara following the final results on Monday, November 10. Council President Mamadou Kone said in a national broadcast that the body had validated Ouattara's victory by more than 94% of the vote. Final results showed Ouattara polled 94.27% of the vote, who sought re-election after opposition parties and their supporters had largely boycotted the election and insisting he would be violating the constitution, which limits presidents to 2 terms. But Ouattara says the approval of a new constitution in 2016 allows him to restart his mandate. The election that was marred by clashes and opposition boycott saw the killing of around 35 people, raising concerns about the stability of Ivory Coast. Meanwhile, Ivorian President, leader and former Prime Minister Pascal Affi-N'Guessan has been placed under arrest for creating a rival government after President Ouattara's election victory. Prosecutors in Ivory Coast are pursuing terrorism charges against more than a dozen opposition leaders who announced they were creating a transitional government after Ouattara won the election. In Central African Republic, a former president, Francois Bozizé, has submitted his candidacy for presidential election to the National Election Authority. He was accompanied by some members of his Kwanakwa party, being in exile since 2013. Bozizé returned last year December in the country, not fulfilling the requirements of the National Election Authority. It requires a presidential candidate to reside in his home country for at least 1 year before he is eligible to stand for presidential elections. His party says it can attest to his presence in the territory since October 9, 2019. Bozizé said he is leaving the final decision to the National Election Authority agents and judges of the Constitutional Court to take the right decision on his candidacy. However, he showed his confidence in the validation of his file. I have all the supporting documents that can allow me to present myself normally, he assured the press. If his candidacy is accepted, Francois Bozizé will be the most serious opponent against outgoing President Faustin Archange Touadéra, who is seeking a second term. So far, 7 other candidates have also submitted their dossier, including Anissé Georges Dologele and Martin Zigele, both former prime ministers and heavyweights in Central African politics. The call for ghost town protest in Conakry and the surrounding cities of Koya and Dubreka on Monday, November 9, by the leader of the Opposition Union of Democratic Forces of Guinea, Cellou Dalein Diallo, yielded fruits. In observance to the calls for a lockdown, a number of businesses have closed in the Wandira area of Conakry. Disruptions to overland travel has also been reported in Fidel Castro Highway and Corniche Lambini. Businesses have also closed in the Baliboya and Cimenterie areas of Dubreka. This to denounce the decision of the Constitutional Court to uphold the victory of President Alpha Condé in the disputed October presidential election. Further post-election unrest is likely to occur in the capital and other areas across Guinea in the near to medium term following the opposition appeals, when a realistic possibility of clashes between protesters and security forces. Condé, who has been Guinea's president since 2010, pushed through a change in the constitution following a referendum in March that effectively reset the two-term limit in the constitution and allowed him to run as his party candidate in the presidential election on October 18. The civilian population had been called upon to remain vigilant due to threats of violence, avoid gatherings in public, and heed all directives issued by local authorities. Over to a landlocked country in West Africa, information coming from a family member and a doctor on Tuesday revealed Mali's former president Amadou Toumani Touré, who led the Sahel nation for a decade before being ousted in a coup, has died in Turkey aged 72. A hospital doctor in Bamako said the former leader had recently undergone heart surgery. Although everything seemed to be going on well, the doctor said he was later transferred to Turkey for medical reasons, where he gave up the ghost on Monday night, breaking Tuesday. The former army general was celebrated for enacting democratic reforms in the West African nation, but was ousted in a military coup in 2012. Touré came to power in 1991 when he led a coup against dictator Moussa Traoré after 22 years of hardline rule. Traoré died in Mali in September. He won presidential elections in 2002 and 2007, but himself was overthrown in 2012 by mutinous soldiers who accused him of failing to support their battle against both Tuareg rebels and jihadist insurgents. Mali has suffered from chronic instability and repeated coups, the latest coming earlier this year. Out of Africa, Armenia, Azerbaijan and Russia have this Tuesday, November 10, signed an agreement to end 6 weeks of fierce fighting in Nagorno-Karabakh. The announcement of a full ceasefire sparked outrage in Armenia, with angry protesters storming the government headquarters in Yerevan, where they ransacked officers and broke windows. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan describes the deal as unspeakably painful in an emotional Facebook post. After his announcement, crowds also seized control of parliament, calling from inside the chamber for the resignation of Prime Minister Nikol. The deal was later confirmed by Azerbaijan and the Kremlin. Azerbaijan's president, in a televised online meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, said the deal will be a crucial point in ending conflict. By so doing, Putin has announced the deployment of Russian peacekeeping mission in Nagorno-Karabakh. Peru's president has voted to impeach President Martin Vizcarra over allegations he handed out government contracts in return for bribes. Lasting for over 8 hours, some 105 members of the opposition-dominated Congress voted to remove the centrist leader. Legislators needed to secure 87 votes out of the 130 to remove him from office. There were 19 votes against and 4 abstentions. Mr. Vizcarra said he would accept the vote, not take any legal action, and leave the presidential palace. It is the second attempt over the last 2 months to oust the president. Manuel Merino, the Speaker of Congress, is expected to assume the presidency until July 2021, when Mr. Vizcarra's term was due to end. The next presidential and parliamentary elections are due in April. Post-banging protesters took to the streets around the Congress building in the immediate aftermath of Monday night's vote, and police clashed with pro-Vizcarra demonstrators a few blocks from the Congress building. Some waved signs accusing the Congress of a coup. The former president of Bolivia, Evo Morales, crossed the border on foot back into Bolivia from Argentina on Monday, November 10, ending a year in exile. Mr. Morales, who led Bolivia for almost 14 years as the first indigenous president, resigned and left Bolivia in November 2019 amidst mass protests over allegations of vote rigging in the presidential election, saying that he would return to Bolivia if his MAS party won the rerun of the election, which it did on October 18. The former president was received by hundreds of supporters at the border, waving the flag of Argentina, indigenous people, and playing music on traditional instruments. Morales took part in an indigenous blessing ceremony before heading to address the large crowds gathered at the border in Villazón. It is not yet clear what his future will be. Arce was sworn in on Sunday and is set to unveil his new cabinet later, but is yet to comment on his predecessor's return. U.S. President Donald Trump has fired the U.S. Defense Secretary. This comes after his defeat of the November 3 presidential elections, as he announced on Monday he had terminated Defense Secretary Mark Esper, signaling he may use his final months in office to settle scores within his administration. Democrats reacted with alarm, saying Trump's move sent a dangerous message to America's adversaries and dimmed hopes for an orderly transition as President-elect Joe Biden prepares to take office. In an interview after the news of his firing, Esper on Monday shot back at being dubbed as Trump's yes man, leading to his nickname Yesper at the Pentagon. Esper added that his priority throughout his tenure was successfully executing the national defense strategy, adding he believes his legacy will reflect that. Trump said on Twitter that Christopher Miller, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, will be taking over as acting Secretary of Defense. And that marks today's edition of the news on DBS TV. Thank you for watching. Keep watching DBS TV and enjoy our programs. Good night.